Hey everybody, it's Tuesday again. Guess what? It's story time. Now I realize that some of you won't see story time on Tuesday. Some of you will see it during the week. Sometimes maybe you won't even see it in the same week that it's made and put online. But hey, that's okay. We want you to have fun and enjoy the stories. And usually I try to have a point to each story that I tell you. So I hope you'll look for that story. And when you find it, just think about it, will you? All right. Well, today's story is a little longer. It's brought to us by Dr. Roger Moore, who is a dermatologist. All right. And it's titled Perspective. All right. Have you ever wondered why other people see things differently than you do? Most of us believe our vision of how things are because of the way we see things. But at the same time, we often think that's the only way to see things. But it's not. Other people may see the same thing from a different vantage point, and so they will look at it a little differently. A story I read described how a grandmother living on a beautiful island loaded up her 2-year-old grandson in a stroller and took him for a grander ride around the countryside on the island. She saw cattle, flowers, tropical trees, a tall brown horse. To her surprise, the baby did not seem too interested in the venture that they had taken, at least not as much as she expected. So the next day, she loaded him up in the stroller again and took him once more around the same course of the island. But to her amazement, he still didn't seem too amazed. Well, exasperated, she told herself she would give the boy one more try. And so she loaded him up for the third time and in the stroller and took him on the same route because she wanted him to see the things that she saw. Well, this time, as she was buckling him into the stroller, she happened to notice things from his perspective. And as she looked around, she noticed that the grass was so tall along the path that she had taken that there was no way he could possibly see the same things that she saw because she was much taller than he was as they traveled on this path. The baby was unable to see all the beauty of the prior strolls as opposed to what the grandmother had seen. The experience of these two was drastically different on each trip until they looked from the same level of sight. You see, she decided this time, instead of pushing him around in the stroller, she picked him up and carried him, so that now his perspective was the same as hers. And they saw the same things, because now they were seeing things from the same perspective. Well, this story reminds us that our perspective might be different from other people's perspective. And small factors can make a difference in how we see things. For example, have you ever sat behind someone in a pew at church and you cannot really see the preacher because of the person sitting in front of you is so big that you can't really see well? Your perspective of the service will be quite a bit different than anyone else's. So, remember that just because someone doesn't see things quite the way you do Maybe it's because they have a different perspective. All right, so that's my story for today, and I'm sticking to it. So the next time someone sees something different from you, remember to check and see where their vantage point was. And then maybe you will be able to understand where they are coming from. All right, well, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.